Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here, welcome back to the channel for another update. So, this might be the week we've been waiting for. It's currently 1:30 AM in London. It's Monday the 25th of September, also known as Chess Day. I was about to get my first early night sleep in maybe years, and then I started to notice that tomorrow's update might not be able to wait until tomorrow. So I want to let you know what my thoughts are for the market. I want to let you know my thoughts on Bitcoin, what are my price targets, and let you know what I think could potentially be happening this week. I also want to talk about what is happening in the macro space right now. Why is Bitcoin likely going to have a tough week? What is happening in the global macro right now? So let's dive right into the content. Now, before I give you my new price targets for Bitcoin, let's first of all start off with the macro, and of course start off with macro crypto. Now, if we start off on the total cryptocurrency market cap, like we've been talking about for maybe the past month or two now, we are literally on the precipice of deciding whether this head and shoulders pattern is going to hold at this neckline. We've obviously given you two separate price targets on this. Whether you're looking at this as a M pattern or a head and shoulders, the price targets are down here at 757 billion and 208 billion respectively for the M pattern and the head and shoulders. On the total cryptocurrency market cap now, as we will see as we are going through some of the other macro charts, a lot of these charts are in a very similar situation. While their charts are different, we're seeing the same thing across the board when you're thinking about it fundamentally. If we're looking at the total cryptocurrency market cap, like we said, I think this could potentially be the week, maybe in the next week. I think either this week we do absolutely nothing or everything happens. Now, I'm personally thinking, I've got a gut feeling that this week could potentially be the one. But as you can see, we're on the neckline for the total cryptocurrency market cap, the total altcoin market cap as well. We're coming very, very close to this. The neckline is actually a tiny bit lower. I'll show you. As you can see, this is what I'm looking at, the weekly head and shoulders for the total altcoin market cap, with a neckline down here at 490 billion. Price target all the way down here at 317 billion, calling for a 38% drop in the markets. But like we said, it's not just these total crypto charts which are on the cusp of something big. If we come over to the DXY, you can currently see we've been rallying up for the past 10 weeks or so. And if we're looking at Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency market cap, this is what we're seeing right now. If we overlay the DXY in green, and let's just come over and click the invert scale. So we inverse the DXY. As we know, crypto, DXY, they have a very strong negative correlation. So let's just invert the DXY and look at the positive correlation between the inverse DXY and the crypto markets. And as you can see, inverse DXY has been coming down for the past 10 weeks or so. And right now, if we head over to the actual DXY, not looking at the inverse chart, you can see on the weekly time frame, if we're looking at the previous resistance, which you can see throughout this mini bear market from September of 2022 all the way to September of 2023, if we're looking at the EMA ribbons, if we're looking at things like the bull market support bands, you can see we were holding these in the massive run that the DXY had. And as soon as we came down and started rejecting and getting stuck at these levels underneath the bull market support bands and the EMA ribbons, this was clear resistance. But right now on the DXY, as you can see, for the past 10 weeks or so, like we've been talking about, this has been on a absolute tear. And right now for the DXY on the weekly, you can see we are at a very important level of resistance, 105.9. I think if we do manage to break this, we could potentially head all the way up to this next important level, the 618 fib, round about 109. If we do zoom out, I did talk about this earlier on over on Twitter today, but this is one of the major reasons why we're seeing the DXY regain strength. At least from a technical perspective, you can see this previous resistance since March of 2015 acting as a 8-year resistance mark. We recently flipped above this, came back down to it, back tested it, and ever since then we've been on a absolute tear to the upside. So we've got the DXY on the cusp of a very important decision. Are we going to get rejected from this and proceed down into a DXY bear market, or potentially could the DXY take a tear to the upside? Like we talked about as well, total altcoin market cap, total crypto market cap, these are all at very important levels. And if we come over to the S&P 500, this was one chart we shared quite a few many weeks ago, talking about how this rising wedge with a breakdown and a retest happening at this very important weekly level for the S&P 500. We were saying this may be the nail in the coffin. As you can see, if we come over to the daily, beautiful touch point on here. Ever since then, we've been getting absolutely obliterated for the S&P 500. If we look at the weekly time frame for the S&P, as you can see, it's down about 3% on this bearish engulfing candle last week. And I think coming into the Monday opening, I think it's very likely we get continuation. If we do look at the daily time frame, you can see that we are currently losing the bull market support bands, which, by the way, stay the same on every single time frame if we are coming over here. This is what we're witnessing right now. We're witnessing the bull market support bands getting lost as support. If we're coming over to the daily again, you can see the daily EMA ribbons are firing bearish, and all of this is happening as we've just broken down from this half diamond top formation. And if we do take the price target of this, you can see that the S&P 500 on the daily may be heading down to approximately 4186 very soon. On the weekly time frame, this is kind of the level that I've been looking at. As you can see, this big box down here, let me mark this as green because obviously we're above it for right now. In the macro, I'm looking at between 4,200 all the way down to about 4,100 to be the next magnet zone for the S&P. In terms of the bond market, as we discuss more frequently, looking at the 2-year government bonds and also looking at the 10-year government bonds, these have been rising in the past week, both respectively making new all-time highs, which is why when we come over to the iShares TIP ETF, we are witnessing new bear market lows as of the closing on Friday last week. So I think a lot of these markets are at a very important level. If government bond yields keep on making new all-time highs, we're going to see this leading indicator for the S&P, the iShares TIP ETF, continue to break down into new bear market lows. This is a tiny bit off the top of my head, but I do also just want to add in this chart of the IWM iShares Russell 2000 ETF, basically an ETF like the S&P 500, but the IWM basically has a bunch of small cap stocks instead of the S&P 500, which has the 500 largest stocks. So for large caps, we've obviously been seeing Nvidia, Amazon, Google, etc. All of these big companies do very well. But when we're looking at the bottom of the barrel, we're not really seeing the S&P 500 as a whole acting in a positive way at this moment in time. We can see this when we're looking at market breadth, which we talked about earlier on, maybe a month or so ago. The IWM iShares TIP ETF. This is another visual sign kind of letting you know where the rest of the stock market is, where it's doing at this moment in time, how it's doing, is it surviving, is it also in a bull run? As you can see, the IWM not so much. So as you can see from what we've talked about, a lot of these markets in the macro are at very critical levels right now, and this leads us into Bitcoin. We've started off the week on Monday with a bearish engulfing candle. Now, I was going to wait until tomorrow to put this update out. I also wanted to put out a KDA update, but, I was lying in bed and then I started to see, this pattern start to form. I was hoping, potentially I could come tomorrow and maybe the markets would lollygag for a day or so. But, unfortunately, this is how it is. The markets are looking like they want to move right now. So I want to start off on this first chart over on the daily time frame. We've highlighted this one before, but as you can see, we've now had a reversion to the mean in terms of the daily EMA ribbons. We have just fallen from the short-term moving average on the daily EMAs, which are already firing bearish, not a good sign. At this moment in time, I do see us bouncing between these two trend lines right here, and the upper trend line was formed by, as we discussed previously, this falling wedge, which has a tendency to break to the upside. It's more likely to break up. This one broke down. As you can see, we broke down, formed a new trend line, and we've hit against this level 2 times. So to me, on the daily time frame, this looks like a double top right here. Now, this looks like a double top with a swing failure pattern above the previous support, which was flipped as resistance here. I then see a double top once again coming into this trend line, not managing to get a daily candle above this trend line, double rejection, and also these rejections both beautifully lined up with a retest of some of the longer term moving averages in the daily EMAs. And today, as of Monday, we're losing the short-term moving average, so we're kind of falling from a lot of important areas of support on the daily. What I'm currently looking at is for us to follow down this path to come back down to this trend line. This would mean Bitcoin around about 24,350, breaking just beneath this previous low. So maybe it's more accurate to say, look at round about 25,000, look at round about 24,800. This is where your first important level of support is going to start to come in. If we do break beneath that level, expect potentially something like this to play out. I don't know why I didn't just do this with the arrow tool right here, but nonetheless, potentially something like this is what I could be foreseeing to play out for Bitcoin. If we now move over to the weekly and the monthly, like I've been saying in the videos, just a lot of things have broken recently. If you're a veteran of the channel and you watch all my videos, you know, we've gone through so many macro charts. I'll just point out a few very quickly that I find to be the most significant. As we discussed, this ascending head and shoulders pattern has broke down with a price target all the way down at 18,375. We've recently got rejected and fallen beneath the 200-week moving average. We've recently fallen beneath the bull market support bands. We recently came back up to this very important horizontal support region, which was flipped as resistance coming into the bear market, and we've double topped at this region. We've been heading down, and ever since then, it's just been week after week I've been coming out and saying, hey, now we're beneath the bull market support bands, now we're beneath the support, now we're beneath the 200 week, now we're beneath the EMA ribbons. Every video, every week or so, it's been a little bit choppy for the past week, but coming into the next few weeks and looking at the past few weeks, it seems like the direction is pretty clear in terms of the macro as well. Like I said, I think this could potentially be one of these weeks. So yeah, looking at the macro, looking at what's happening in Bitcoin right now, I think my prediction is going to start to materialize definitely in the next few weeks or so, but I've just got a gut feeling right now that potentially maybe it's going to happen in the next 7 days or so. But yeah, let's wrap up this video. Like I said, just a lot of things have been breaking recently. Another example of this is the weekly time frame on the stochastic RSI. We have obviously seen a bearish flip and we're just getting continuation. As well on Bitcoin, we've fallen from the ascending channel, which has been pushing up throughout all of 2023. Here's something I shared exclusively for my Twitter followers the other day, but Bitcoin is currently forming a hidden bearish divergence on the daily time frame, as you can see right here. Zooming in on Bitcoin on the daily time frame as well, as you can see, as we discussed earlier, this is looking like a double top. It looks like, in my opinion, the most neutral scenario for this week is us coming back down to 25,300 and maybe bouncing around in this potential forming flag/pennant before making that next macro move back down to the downside. Or like I said, potentially with all of these markets and the macro lining up right now, potentially this is the week that we're going to see something materially change in the markets. But yeah, apart from my final price target, that's pretty much all I've got for today. All eyes for me are currently on this CME gap down here at 20,230 for Bitcoin. This really in the macro is where I think we're heading. In the next week, am I saying we have to be down at 20,000? No, I'm not saying that. But I am saying with all of these markets lining up right now, I think if not this week, then next week, very, very soon, we're going to start to witness these markets make their very important decision. I think this is kind of the point where this is going to be the deciding battle between bulls and bears. Right now, in my trading history, I've traded for many, many years in lots of different markets. But what I've never seen is this much disagreement with not only retail traders, but intellectual traders. It's very, very interesting where you look at one very, very smart trader who's got a very good history of being right, and then you look at another smart trader who's got a very good history of being right, and there's quite a lot of people who are divided right now between bull or bear. That's just, not necessarily something that I've seen so much of in the past. Right now, I see it so split 50-50, and I think with these markets lining up, like for example, just the DXY, we're looking at this very important level. If we manage to clear back above this level, then it's looking like the DXY is still in a bull run that it has been in since, round about 2021. Is the DXY going to continue its bull run? Is the S&P 500 going to continue its bear market? Or have myself and other bears, which are thinking we're coming back down for new lows, been wrong this whole time? Either way, bull or bear, I think, coming into the next week or so, this is going to be the deciding factor, which may just happen this week. So for today, my friends, that's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, you know what to do, all that YouTube stuff. Smash the like button, leave a comment, share the videos with your friends. If you want to further support the channel, feel free to click the join button on YouTube and become a member today. Follow me over on Twitter at 618_cowboy for more posts. Make sure to head down to the description in all my videos, or also click the about section on my YouTube. Come over and join the Discord. It's been your boy Cowboy Trades. I'm out. Peace.